safety and starting position. Ensure the barbell deadlift is performed on a sturdy platform with the use of bumper plates for additional weight. Place the bumper plates on the ends of the barbell and lock them in with barbell collars. This will prevent any unnecessary movement of the weight plates. The deadlift grips. We have two options for the deadlift grip. Option 1 is the pronated grip. This is with both hands in a pronated position. Option 2 is the mixed grip. Here we have one hand in the pronated position and one hand in the supinated position. A mixed grip will stop the barbell from rolling forwards in the hands. If you struggle with grip strength, the lifting straps may assist you when lifting heavier weights. Wrap the straps completely around the barbell and hold on to the ends of the straps within your natural grip. It is important to maintain as strong a grip as possible on the barbell throughout the lift, even when holding the straps. Now let's take a look at the starting position of the barbell deadlift. Firstly, from a side-on view, it is important to maintain a neutral spine position. The shoulders should be in front of the barbell, with the barbell vertically aligned over the scapula, and the core activated and switched on. From an anterior view, the feet should be approximately shoulder width apart with toes pointed forwards. The hands just outside the shins, the arms straight, and the chest up. From a close-up view, the barbell should be positioned over the mid-region of the foot, and it should be very slightly in contact with the shins. Technique cues. Once a strong starting position is assumed, initiate the movement by pushing through the floor with the feet. Ensure the barbell clears the knees as you lift it up. Ensure the hips and chest rise at the same rate. And ensure that you squeeze the glutes at the end of the movement. Now let's look at lowering the barbell. Lowering the barbell can be just as technically challenging as lifting the barbell. Initiate the lowering movement by pushing the hips backwards. This is what's known as hinging at the hips. You should continue to hinge the hips as the barbell brushes down the thighs and only bend the knees once the barbell moves past them. Correct breathing techniques. Exhale through the mouth as the barbell is lifted from the floor. Once the top of the movement is achieved, lower the barbell slowly to the floor whilst inhaling through the nose. This process should be repeated for all repetitions. Now let's take a look at the barbell deadlift in normal speed. Now let's take a look at some common technique errors performed during the barbell deadlift. Technique error number 1, pulling the barbell from too far out in front of the body. Pulling the barbell from too far out in front of the body can result in increased stress placed on the lower back. As can be seen in this comparison, the barbell should be pulled as close to the body as possible. Exercise instruction methods for the poor technique demonstrated. If the personal trainer notices the client is pulling from too far out in front of their body, it is important to get them to stop the exercise to prevent further injury. From here, the personal trainer should look to reposition the barbell over the midpoint of the foot, therefore placing it closer to the body. The client should then be able to lift the barbell as close to the body as possible throughout the movement and maintain positive technique. Common technique error number 2, failing to hinge at the hips when lowering the barbell. This is a common technique error made by many lifters when performing the barbell deadlift. The hip hinge is a very complex movement which is learned through practice, as well as developed through strength of the posterior chain. Failing to hinge at the hips can result in an overdominance of the quadriceps muscles and a weakness in the posterior chain, especially the glutes and hamstring muscles. As can be seen in this comparison, the client should be encouraged to push the hips backwards to initiate the downwards movement. Let's look at some exercise instruction methods for correcting this technique error. This technique error will be very easy to pick up from the PT point of view, as the client will resemble more of a squat than a deadlift. If you notice this, you can ask the client to practice by placing them 1 foot length in front of a wall and encouraging them to sit back and touch their backside on the wall. This will encourage the client to sit backwards first before they bend the knees and drop down. Common technique error number 3, rounding of the lumbar spine. Rounding of the lumbar spine whilst lifting the weight will place excess stress on the lower back and may lead to injury. As can be seen in this comparison, the client should be encouraged to maintain a neutral spine position throughout the movement. Exercise instruction methods for correcting this poor technique. If the PT notices the client is pulling with the rounded lumbar spine region, they should stop them immediately, as it may cause further injury. The PT should look to regress this exercise by performing a rack deadlift. Here the barbell is placed above the knees or just at knee level, which will reduce the range of motion. Notice the client is able to maintain a neutral spine from this position. From here, the client will simply lift up from above the knees to the hip region and squeeze the glutes at the top. Once technique is mastered in this position, we can then increase the range of motion to being below the knees, but still slightly above the floor. Once again, in this position, the client should look to maintain a neutral spine position and eliminate the rounding of the lumbar spine we saw earlier. If technique is mastered from this position, the barbell can be placed on the floor once again, and the client can look to complete a regular barbell deadlift. Now let's go through an exercise analysis of the barbell deadlift. Firstly, the concentric phase. This occurs when the barbell is pulled from the floor to the hip region. Here the target muscles are contracting or shortening. The eccentric phase. This occurs when the barbell is lowered from the hips back to the floor. The target muscles will be relaxing or lengthening. Now let's have a look at a joint action muscle analysis of the concentric phase only. Starting with the joints. We see passive movement at the ankle joint. We also see movement at the knee joint. And finally, strong contribution of the hip joint. Moving on to joint actions, we can see a very passive contribution of ankle plantar flexion. We see a stronger contribution of knee extension. And finally, a strong contribution of hip extension. Moving on to target muscles. The muscles performing ankle plantar flexion include the gastrocnemius and the soleus, also known as the calf muscles. For knee extension, we see the rectus femoris, the vastus lateralis, the vastus medialis, and the vastus intermedius, these being the quadricep muscles. And finally, for hip extension, we see the gluteus maximus, the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus, these being the hamstring muscles. The barbell deadlift.